Saturday afternoon in Pilsen, Illinois. Happy New Year, everybody. This is the Breit Rock Discovery Show. Starting off the new year right, Season 2, Episode 1. Kicking off just like we did last year. So we've got the annual Anticipations episode. So this week we're going to be looking at bands, tours, anything cool music-related that I am looking forward to in the city. Stuff for people to look out for. You know, kind of how we do. So why don't we just dip right into it? We opened up the track. Well, before we get ahead of ourselves, how you doing, Jake?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Welcome to the new year, Season 2.
Yep. Happy New Year.
We made it to a second season.
Starting it off right, and after a few weeks of special holiday episodes and dipping out to see the fam and everything, we are back to the normal routine. So nice to be back in the groove again.
Absolutely.
So we started things off, like I said, this is the Anticipations episode, so we're going to be checking out stuff that bands that maybe have just released towards this year, and I'm looking forward to catching out and about in the clubs in the city, and bands that have got records that are due within the next 6 months or so. So looking forward to that. I think we're going to split this up just like we did last year. And next week's episode, I think we're going to dip in a little bit more into, the upcoming like concerts, festivals, like the bigger events. But we'll keep it into a little tighter in this week. So we opened it up with Negative Scanner. Came out just a few months ago, called Nose Picker. Really dig that band. They've been around the city for an age. It's good to see some new material from them. They haven't put out a record in a couple of years. So excellent new record. Very cool. As you heard, I really dig this band. I've seen them several times. And, of course, they're associated with the organization Pure Joy, who's working on just cool stuff out and about in the punk scene, kind of getting all ages spaces together and putting on really good shows. So all around cool band, doing cool stuff in the city. Very much look forward to checking out the next Negative Scanner show, and you should too. So that gets us into our normal groove. So after that, and we'll also get into this a little bit later, but I've got my old Comiskey's koozie. It's been 6 days, I think, into the new year, and I've seen 2 concerts already. Seen about 12 bands. We'll get into those in the upcoming weeks. But one of the ones was Old Comiskey's. They played New Year's Eve with the Queers at Reggie's, and they were a great group of guys. Had a chance to chat with them a little bit. Very fun stuff. We'll be dipping into that in a little bit more detail later. But hidden behind that koozie is our beer of the week, and we've got Pollyanna Brewing out of Lamont, Illinois, down on the south side, near the prison. And this is their Acclamation Belgian-style golden ale with apricots. Now, this brings a little bit of a PTSD to Jake, so I don't think he's grooving on it as much as I am. But
apricots and me don't mix that well.
But I dig it. It's a Belgian-style ale, so it's a little similar into that Saison farmhouse taste. It's a little bit sour, not too bad. with a nice apricot twist. You can definitely taste the apricot. This is a 7.7 ABV, so it's a baseball bat to the back of the head if you're not careful with it. These are very light and very smooth for such a high ABV beer. So it's a nice little light, typically more summer beer, but here we are in the dead of winter on a beautiful day though. Like weird abnormal. It's like got to be like 50 outside.
I know. I was just in Atlanta and everybody was talking about like how, oh, you're from Chicago. It must be so cold. I was like, man, it was like 45 on Christmas. So, yeah, we've been killing it with the weather the last few weeks.
Yeah.
It doesn't really feel like Chicago. Global warming, once again, is
Yep.
working out for the Midwesterners.
I know, it's weird. Like, I feel bad for all the people that bought like shovels and shit for preparing.
Yeah, I feel bad for people who have like houses in Florida.
Right, yeah. Is the snowbird culture going to change over time? But no. Let's move on. I think this gets us into the shirt, the tradition. So this week I pulled out, this was practically in the archives. This is an ancient Pelican shirt, circa 02, 03, I believe.
Okay.
So nice old school stuff. Awesome shirt, awesome band, and obviously people who listen understand that leads us into the next song. So another band, another Chicago band, Negative Scanner Chicago. I think about half the bands we're going to be chatting about this week are local. Half of them are out and about in the nation, but all of them are good old American bands. And Negative Scanner local, Pelican local. They have been in studio. So it's been a long time. The track we're going to be listening to is Deny the Absolute, and that's from Forever Becoming, which came out in like 2013. So it's been several years since Pelicans put out a record. Over the last few years, they've been somewhat regular in putting out like live recordings, so that's cool.
I was gonna say, I feel like you've talked about them quite a bit.
Yeah.
Year,
I mean, they've got a I don't think I saw them last year. I saw Relayer a couple times, which they're associated with that band. But yeah, I'm very excited for some new Pelican and to see them out and about in the city again. The city, Chicago's kind of got a nice little niche with the instrumental, long form, kind of alt metal style, and I think these guys are the pinnacle of that Chicago sound. So why don't we just jump into it? So, like I said, this is Pelican, Forever Becoming, and I'm super excited that they've got a record coming out within the next 6 months or so, and they'll be out and about touring.
All right, let's check it out. This is Deny the Absolute by Pelican.
It's kind of hot. track, Mild Sauce Live. That was Pelican jamming out. That's fucking killer fucking track. Can't wait to see some new Pelican on the horizon. So that's fucking awesome. This next, we're going to do 2 on the next one. So we got into it, last year with the passing of Caleb Schofield out of the East Coast. He obviously was a member of Cave In, Old Man Gloom, Zozobra, a lot of awesome fucking bands. And at the time of his passing, we did kind of a celebration of his life. And at that time, I was lamenting that, it's unfortunate because he was taken so soon. We're not going to be graced with any more of music from these great bands. And much to my chagrin, both Cave In and Old Man Gloom are currently back in studio working with material that had been recorded with Caleb before his passing. So,
where are you getting this information from?
This has been hyped out on the more metal news wires, Decibel, Revolver, Loudwire, stuff like that. So I've been kind of surprised seeing that coming back up, but in the most pleasant way. They had done some celebration concerts out in LA that I wish I would have gone to, but obviously it's LA and I got other shit to do. But they've been doing kind of like celebration concerts in his honor, and I thought that was going to be the end of it, but it's good to see that they're going to be back out and about. If nothing else, giving out some new material, some last material from Caleb. So none of these guys are local. Why don't we just dip right into it? So we've got a Cave In track and an Old Man Gloom track. We're gonna play Retina Sees Rewind off of the Planets of Old EP, dipping back a little bit, and then Old Man Gloom. We're gonna do the Forking Path off of No. 2 of my most favorite tracks from these bands. So why don't we just dip right in?
Let's dip right in.
Awesome.
Oxygen is still
live. Checking out some Boston influenced, Boston by way of what is that, New Mexico influenced post-hardcore, post-metal. Love both Cave In and Old Man Gloom. Been a big fan of them for a long time, so it's cool to see. It's cool to see new material on the way from those guys. But we're gonna bring it back to Chicago for a couple of bands. This gets into utter and pure speculation and me guessing. So I have no inside lane on this one, but you know,
Steve's TMZ section.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm just making shit up right now. But another band that we talked about last year in one of our Psych Out episodes was Plastic Crime Wave Syndicate. Very cool, Hawkwind, Pink Floyd-esque, real jammy, 13th floor elevators, a lot of that psych stuff that we know and love and talk about a lot on the show.
Just to remind everybody, these are your bands to keep an eye on.
Yes, this is the Anticipations episode, so we're fucking jamming out.
Did this a year ago. You can check those out, and you can see how those kind of threaded through your life. Diving back in.
Yeah, diving back in, kind of keeping that thread alive, talking about stuff in and about the city that's really fucking cool. So, Plastic Crime Wave Syndicate, very cool, very fucking cool psych rock band. I am throwing this out there because if you look at their release schedule over the last several years, they seem to run new albums, new material out on the odd years. Out in 2013, 2015, and 2017. It's now 2019, and I am eagerly anticipating some new work from this great band. So, like I said, this is speculation, but I'm hyped for it.
Yeah, definitely.
We've got what are we playing? We're playing Vast Beyond off of their Thunderbolt of Flaming Wisdom album. And, to that point, and like I said, I think we're going to get a little bit more into it on next episode. But at the end of the month, we've got the Chicago Psych Fest coming out. So I don't think they're playing. Mako Sika is a band that's playing. We talked about them long time ago.
Yeah, they've been on a few shows.
Yeah. So Mako Sika is on the bill for Psych Fest. Like I said, we'll dip into a little bit more detail on that later. But looking forward to that nonetheless. Why don't we jump in? So this will be Thunderbolt, or this is Vast Beyond from Thunderbolt of Flaming Wisdom. And then we're going to change things up on the next track. And
wait, this is Vast Beyond from Plastic Crime Wave Syndicate, correct?
Yes.
From the album.
You are absolutely correct.
Okay, my bad. You got me confused for a moment.
I was out drinking late last night. The synapses are not all connecting.
All right, that's what I'm here for.
Let's do it. It's kind of hot.
Vast Beyond from Plastic Crime Wave Syndicate.
Mild Sauce Live. You know, it's kind of hot. We were just jamming out to Plastic Crime Wave Syndicate, and you know, fingers crossed they got some new material in the works. Moving on, so this is a band that that I saw recently. We'll get into it a little bit on future episodes, but this is like a phoenix from the ashes of the former Chicago band Attaboy. This is Blackerface, and whereas Attaboy, I think at the time I kind of described it as if Etta James fronted Fugazi.
Okay.
This is if Aretha was fronting Frank Zappa's band.
Okay. This is a hell of a references. We'll keep going with it.
So yeah, saw them recently. A little bird may or may not have told me that they've got some new material coming out right around the corner. So be on the lookout for that. Maybe. Wink, wink.
It's a hell of a name, by the way.
Yeah.
The fuck, Blackerface.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I tried to think like if it was a play on something. I don't even know what's going on there. I'm gonna let you explain.
Oh yeah. I mean, once we pop over to the there you go. There's the album.
Wait. What the fuck? Black her face? Is that what there's?
Blackerface.
I don't know.
Blacker.
This is a weird.
Not blackface, blacker face.
Like black her face? Like punch her in the face?
No, like blacker, like darker.
I don't know. This is getting confusing. All right. So what's up? Tell us about him.
No. So Attaboy was a band that I really fucking loved, and this gets into some weirdness. So last night I was out at Ian's party and talking with people around in and out in the Chop Shop and Sub T. I was interested to learn. So one of the bands that we showcased last year, about 6 months ago, was Big Ups out of New York. They have broken up, so very disappointed about that. And then obviously Attaboy has broken up, but coming out of Attaboy, I think there's like 2 or 3 members from Attaboy who are in Blackerface, so lead singer, and I don't think the bass player, I think the guitarist and maybe somebody else. That's my ignorance showing. But no, amazing stuff. I think we have the wrong title written down here for the track. The track itself is Wadley, and it is off of Think Piece. And this is Blackerface. I don't want to get too deep into them because we're going to be talking about them in a couple of weeks, a lot more depth.
Okay, yeah, that's the point of the show, right?
Yeah,
we're spreading the.
Yeah, this is discovery. This was something that was new to me until about 12 hours ago. Like I said, I discovered that one of my favorite bands, Attaboy, had broken up, and this is the continuation of that saga. So let's just dip right into it.
All right, let's check it out.
It'll be very interesting. I really fucking dig this band, so let's check it out.
All right,
it's kind of hot.
The big sign up from Steve. Here's the next one, Blackerface. It's not XL.
It is.
It's Wadley.
It is Wadley.
Mild Sauce. It is kind of.
Future there is still race, but no hatred.
All right, Mild Sauce Live. It's kind of hot. That was Blacker Face with. Oh shit! I really feel stupid for not fixing that name. Wadley. So no, they're fucking awesome. We'll be dipping in a little bit more detail in upcoming episodes, but keep an eye out for them. I actually happened to see them last night, and they were fucking amazing. Put on a great fucking set. So that's cool. Local band and wink wink maybe new material out just around the corner. So keep an eye out for that. Shifting gears a little bit, that takes us from that little bit more psych, spacey, experimental track that we've been running with for the last few songs into a little bit more straight on hardcore. So I've got two bands. We can kind of blast through both of these. They're pretty quick.
Yeah, sure.
So first up, out of the East Coast, we've got Trapped Under Ice, and they put out a record in mid 2017 called Heat Wave. It's amazing. It has been a record that's been on heavy rotation for like a solid year and a half.
That's impressive. I mean, anything that can like hold your attention for more than a few months now, I think.
Yeah.
Is worth.
Oh, in this digital society, yeah.
Right.
If it lasts more than 5 minutes.
Yeah. If you go back to it ever, it's like. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Trapped Under Ice. Heat Wave was an amazing fucking record out of Pop Wig Records. Again, dipping back, our friend of the show, Paul Abood, turned me onto this band quite a while ago, and
Shout out to Peen.
Shout out to Peen. And we've been digging on it ever since. So we'll start out with Trapped Under Ice, No Relief off of Heat Wave. I put this out there again. I'm just prognosticating. It's been at least a year and a half since the release of Heat Wave. So I've got my fingers crossed and eagerly anticipating them swinging out into the city with some new material. So this is just my fingers crossed anticipation. And then next up, we've got Chicago hardcore stalwarts Udisic with Fuck Everything, and this is from the Long in the Tooth EP. It's a benefit for Listeria, so doing some positive stuff. Check it out, pick it up. And again, a little bird may or may not have told me that Udisic's got some new material in the works, so they might have some fresh fucking hits for us in the new year. So why don't we just dive right in? So we got Trapped Under Ice and Udisic.
All right, let's check it out. First up, it's Trapped Under Ice.
Give me no relief. Take my breath, remind me to breathe. Try the heart. Got to be on the top.
All right, we're back. Mild Sauce Live, checking out Udisic, and then before that, Trapped Under Ice. And additional shout-outs to Sarah, lead singer of Udisic. You know, she does a lot of hard work around the city, putting on fucking fantastic shows, in addition to being a fantastic front man for a great band. So shout-outs to Sarah. I look forward not only to new music, but also anything she's got on deck with organizing shows. You know me, down to Chi-Town football anytime that there's something going on there, and
right down the
she
street.
does. She plays an integral role in organizing a lot of that stuff. So
It's important, man. Shout out all the people doing the hard work around the city to make sure all the shows and the music happen.
Yeah, and not only that, but like especially these venues, these out of the way venues that are not necessarily going to be like trying to rake you over the coals with like the admission prices and the beer prices. And,
we're gonna see how that works out this year. With the with all the Lincoln Yards and a lot of these new venues with Live Nation trying to come in. I don't know where that stands at the moment. It's still going through like community, city hall stuff or whatever, community like organizations. But you're going to see like a big change in that this year. So these people are more important than ever. We're going to need them more and more as like the fucking Live Nation Ticketmaster behemoth tries to come into Chicago.
Yeah, and I think that's a good segue because I think what I was planning on doing next week was get a little bit more into the upcoming big festivals that are in the city.
Sure.
Chicago is an anchor of a lot of these big, major festivals. Pitchfork, Lala, Riot Fest, and just to name a few of the top,
the
big biller ones. But we've also got the smaller ones. One's coming.
1,000 of them, one every day in the summertime type shit.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk a little bit more about that because, like I said, Ian's party was last night. I think we've got Music Frozen Dancing right around the corner. So there's some good fests coming up. We'll dip in
right around the corner,
and it'll be interesting. This is something. Start of the year, I was looking at like prices. You know what I mean, trying to budget and plan out. All right, what am I going to hit? What am I going to not? Because I certainly can't afford to hit all these big fests every year. So, like I said, I was surprised and interested to see what people have put out in terms of like lineups and prices for the upcoming year. About that a little bit more in depth next week.
All right, tune in next week. Catch that.
Yep,
it's kind of our lay of the land for the year. That's what we did last year.
Kind of mapping out what we're looking forward to, what we might be hitting on over the course of the season 2. So yeah,
welcome to season 2.
Good stuff, and we're getting a little bit towards the end. So we've got our next track, and then I think we're gonna bounce in, do some shout outs, and then go out on our final. Next track I wanted to bring up. This is another band that put out a record right at the end of the year last year, so we really didn't get too much of a chance to chat about it very often. But High on Fire, they are playing January 22nd. I believe it is at the Metro, and I am working on getting tickets for that one. I'm going to be looking forward to it. Amazing degree coming out of Sleep and just doing amazing stuff for a long fucking time. They've got a new record out, Electric Messiah, and listening to interviews, they were saying that in part this was a little bit of a dedication to Lemmy from Motorhead, so R.I.P. Motorhead, Lemmy. And this is just power fucking metal, just really fucking good, strong stuff. Big fan of. I've seen them several times over the years. My living room, the showcase screen print poster in my living room is a High on Fire from back in the days when the double door still existed in the original format, not the upcoming new one.
Right.
Yeah, so why don't we just dip right in? So this is a High on Fire with Freebooter off of Electric Messiah.
All right, let's check it out. Here it is.
All right, we're back. Mild Sauce Live, jamming out to High on Fire. Love that band. They're going to be in Chicago January 22nd. Like I said, I am working on getting tickets for that show. If I do so, we will do a complete review. So look for that in the upcoming weeks.
Yes, sir.
This gets us down to the end of the line for this week, and like
the first episode back in the new year, man.
Yeah, season 2,
Season
episode
2.
1. We're back.
That's crazy.
Yeah, isn't it fun?
What we do? 36 episodes season
We
1?
did 36 episodes last year.
I'm working my ass off to get those all up on Apple Podcasts and everywhere else. So if you guys check the website, check Apple Podcasts, whatever you like to get your podcast fix. Most of the shows, I think we got it up to about 17 right now. We have a few lost episodes we're trying to locate. Once we get those figured out, we'll make sure we upload the rest. But you guys can catch up on all of last season on Apple Music or Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts.
In your iTunes. Just search YouTube. Steve Breit Rock Discovery Show. There is a Steve Breit band. Disregard that.
Yeah.
It's been a pain in his...
I made it my goal last year to at least post more on social than they did.
Yeah, I think you're doing
so
all
my
right.
name gets up more higher than theirs.
Yeah, we're right there with them on the podcast on the iTunes right now. So hopefully by the end of the year we'll be killing that.
No, you know, that's just fucking life. You know, got to get up on something. But yeah, no, that wraps us up. So, you know, we're going to be continuing this discussion next week. We're going to listen to a few more local bands that I'm really looking forward to. We're going to be listening to a few more out-of-town bands, and I think we're going to dip into a little bit more in-depth conversation on the festivals, the concerts, the annual traditions in and around the city that tend to bring out the good shit, you know? So time for some shout-outs. Shout-out, Jake. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, my man.
Fucking love you.
I appreciate it.
Shout out to the 3-Piece. Fucking had a killer morning show this morning.
Great show this morning. If you guys haven't caught it, a lot of R. Kelly talk on the morning show.
Mm-hmm. And then, you know, shout out to Mars, DJ Police State.
Yep, got him coming in next. We got the backcourt coming back.
The
All-Star
backcourt is
Weekend.
back. I'm super excited about that.
We'll
shout
have
out
them
to
back.
Ryan and
All-Star
Tano.
Weekend. They'll be on. And then
we've got a special guest tonight, don't
later
we?
tonight.
So stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned through the rest of the day. We're going to be back with Mars in a little bit. And then right after that, I'm going to be sitting down with Vincent Martel from VAM Studios for a little one-on-one. He just put out Damaged Goods, his new web series. Been doing amazing things around the city. I'm one of his biggest fans, so I'm real excited personally to be able to sit down
that's
tonight.
going to be a good show tonight.
Yeah. But, yeah, man, what do you got for us to ride out on?
All right, so another band that put out a record in the end of 2018, a British band. So I lied at the top of the episode. We've got one band from across the pond, but this is the ever doomy and sludgy and stonery Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats. They released Wasteland. I believe it's their 5th album. At the end of last year. With everything that was going on, I was a little bit behind on doing any sort of like reviews or talking about them. But I saw them, I believe, in 2015 at the Metro. They put on an amazing fucking set. And I'm super stoked that they've got a new record out and they will definitely be on tour. And I cannot wait for Uncle Acid to come into Chicago. So why don't we ride out on some sludgy, stonery fucking... awesomeness. So this is Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats, Shockwave City off the new record Wasteland that just came out just a couple months ago.
Amazing. And yeah, thank you guys for listening. This has been the first episode of the 2nd season.
Yeah.
We're going to be going all year. So tune in again. Be back next week. And we're going to go out, like Steve said, on Wasteland by Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats.
Yeah. It's kind of hot.
It's kind of hot. And here you go.